Can Rayman Origins truly be the platformer of Rayman that we've all been waiting for this generation? Or is it just one of those games that slaps on the face and barely doesn't contribute tribute to the actual license, unlike with Crash Bandicoot, Zero Entertainment, and of course Spyro. But who knows, maybe this one will actually be the one to truly finally change the world of Rayman and platforming, besides that crappy Raving Rabbids game. But anyways, let's find out today on Rayman Origins for the Wii. Also available for PS3, 360, PC, PS Vita, and I believe the 3DS is getting one, I think, pretty soon. I'm not so sure. But anyways, let's dive on in, gamer fans. This is Rayman Origins. Let's go.
Alright, let's get into the actual story now of Rayman Origins now. Now, the story to Rayman Origins is pretty much, as you can see, one day, while, Rayman and his friends were just chilling, snoring, like, very loudly. You know how the old saying goes, for some people that snore so loud that it can wake the entire world up? Well, let's just say that it wakes up an unexpected, way below underground cavern world of these really, beyond the dead, like, these really dark skull beyond the dead people, actually run by a crazy old grandma. Well, actually, they're actually, okay, I'm just kidding. Technically what they are, just basically like evil, like, creatures run by some crazy old ass grandma who looks like she's about, like, over, like, 9,000 years old. Oh, I see what I did there, huh? And technically what it is that she can't get enough, peace and quiet after all that snoring. So she dies, she can't take it no more, and decides to send her evil army of evil, weird-ass creatures. Believe me, this is just the beginning. There are plenty of weird creatures along the way to meet around this franchise. But story is simple, short, straight to the point, and it's up to Rayman and the crew to actually save their world from being taken over by these... That part was really funny, I gotta admit. Yeah. They actually saved the world from being taken over by this demented, crazy old woman. Now let's move on to the actual gameplay, since I already mentioned the story, and the intro is obviously about to end here. Okay, now we can move right on ahead to the gameplay. Now, the gameplay to Rayman Origins is pretty much similar to the very old classic PS1 original Rayman game back at the PlayStation 1, where it's actually a 2D platforming game instead of a 3D platformer, just like Rayman 2 and Rayman 3 were. Now, with this in mind, it actually seems like this actually seems like a good idea, because people actually thought when this game was first announced it was a total remake of the original Rayman game back on the PS1 and Sega Saturn, but nope, it's technically really different and very differently animated, and it feels more like a cartoon more than an actual video game with the graphics and the cinematics or whatnot. With this crazy, wacky design, could this really actually be very considerably fun? Hell yeah, you bet it is. Fuck. It's Rayman, a franchise we haven't seen in God knows how long, since Rayman 3. Now, Rayman 3 was pretty much the last stepping stone of Rayman. While not being one of my most favorites, still being Rayman 2, I have to say, after all this, I am so glad Rayman has finally come back to the platforming ages. Because think about it. Well, it's been a while since we've seen a really old franchise come back to life. I mean, hey, we got Kid Icarus coming for 3DS, and now, out of the blue, Rayman is back. So this is actually a huge stepping stone for what they can do. And I really did love the 2010 reboot of the Donkey Kong Country franchise with Donkey Kong Country Returns for Wii. Retro Gamer Studios, thumbs up for that. But now let's move on to Rayman. If you ever played the original Rayman game for the PS1 and Sega Saturn, you're pretty much familiar with what Rayman can do. If you haven't, I'll give you the base of it. What Rayman can do is basically, as you can see, he can do like any other what platforming characters can do, except he steals some elements from one character, which is Mega Man, and I'll show you why. Well, actually not just Mega Man, but most other platformers pretty much do this as well. Rayman learns brand new moves along the way. It's not just your typical jump, attack, spin, ground pound, stuff like that. Technically, Rayman technically, he actually gets more creative, attack powers. Kind of like how Mega Man gets more power-ups from the Robot Masters after he defeats most of the Robot Masters in the classic Mega Man format, and also the X series. So Rayman gets some new moves along the way. Like there's one, basically I'll show you later on in the ice level, which has to be one of my most favorite for gameplay-wise, and also for like the soundtrack-wise, because again, the soundtrack for this game is just very, very good. But I'll get to that in a moment. I'm still explaining the gameplay here. So as you can see, the crazy design, the most crazy ways that you can create a platformer. Like, I didn't even know how this was actually gonna work, because I'm thinking, okay, how is this ever gonna work? But damn, holy Jesus, when I actually saw like how this was presented in a way, it's just amazing. Like, this is like bringing me back, way back to my childhood, like way back when I was like 7 or 8 years old when I first booted up the PlayStation, and my god, this is actually how I remembered it, but in a more different, silly, cartoony type of way. But unlike your typical platformer, the game does actually get very, very hard after a while. It's not just your easy around-the-go game, sort of like with the Kirby games, where it seems very, very easy, but then gets slightly more challenging at the end of the game. No, this game really takes the balls to the wall as one of the most hardest platformers I've ever played. Now, the first world, of course, technically is not really the hardest, but once you get to like World 3 and 4, you will be literally shitting in your pants, because it does get very challenging very quick. Now the thing is with this is that technically there's really no game over system for this. Like, once you reach a checkpoint, you just keep starting from that checkpoint until you beat the level, which is weird. Now that's one thing that sort of could have been fixed and way more challenging, is that, when you die at a certain point, it keeps telling you this place is dangerous, do you want to keep going? Yes. And you still remain at that same checkpoint. From there, I thought that was the game over sign and saying, alright, fuck, we gotta start all the way back from the beginning. But no, that's one little minor thing I had, is that that's technically what it does. So the more you keep starting there, the more you could easily just get better at it and just technically beat that part of the level, and just beat the whole level in general. But at least you lose, your health and all that. Unlike in a game that I know of, Dragon Ball, Revenge of King Piccolo, where you actually, like, when you die in the game over, you start from that point, and the enemies have the same life bar when you're, like, almost defeating them, which is stupid, and was a really terrible error. Well, in this, you actually start from that same point. You just don't start from the point that you died, you start from the checkpoint, over and over. But the thing is, there's really no balanced life system. What it is just that you keep starting from that checkpoint over and over and over until you somewhat find a way to beat the level, which is just sort of one little error that I have with the game. But overall, the game is still very good, and the platforming is still fun, and the genius work to make this a cartoon brought to life in platform. What I do love here, that's my most favorite about this game, is the flying segments. The flying segments are always very fun, and basically have very epic music like you're hearing right now in the background. But this one is sort of pretty good. It's a little more easier than the other one, which comes right after this, which I will show you right about now, which is actually one of my most favorite flying segments of the game, pretty much, is this one right here. This one has to be one of my most favorites, because it's the same music from the first game, but this one's a little more amped up more than the first, not the first game, I'm sorry, the first world at the very end, when you're going to World 2. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that there's different beats to the, those little loom things that you get. There are certain looms that have a crown, and what just means that when they're red, you can get more loom points that you need to actually get some extra stuff from like the shop. When you rescue these little smiley face things, which I'll show you in a little bit,
you won.
That's basically your whole goal. You don't have to rescue all of them, but I do recommend it so you can get some extra stuff and extra items in the shop to actually upgrade yourself. Besides just the regular upgrades you get, like new abilities to crawl to underneath places that you can get to, and to do some crazy spin, martial arts, fighting type of moves against your enemies. And yeah, I kind of fucked up there. Yeah, this one, like I said, is more harder than the first one, and it's actually one of my favorites, especially when it goes to a snowy environment, which is actually cool. It transfers from this, then goes to a snowy environment. It's actually very nice. And I have to say my favorite one of like the levels, it has to be the snow level. It has to be World 2. Like, it just surprised me like how crazy and awesome it really is. I'll show you in a bit, but the flying segment in this is actually pretty fun. I mean, lots of platformers have that. I mean, the new remake, the Donkey Kong Country Returns for the Wii actually had this, so that was actually pretty cool. Again, this game is just like... Oh yeah, there's also these other different ones you can get too. Yeah, those are a little harder. I mean, I tried to get some of those, but they're hard. Alright, so... as we're seeing right here... this part I really hated. There's like a bunch of like, they look like the stuff from the Plague. It kind of looks like the freaking Plague is like here. It's like, ugh, it's all gross. And this part kind of like creeped me out. And those faces, don't even ask. I have no idea what those faces are about. Don't even bother. You know, it kind of looks like a cookie. It looks like a smiley cookie. It looks like either a cookie or part of the moon. It looks odd, but whatever. Anyways, as you're seeing the rest of this level here progress, I'm just gonna show you. Damn, look at that. Damn, that hit me right there. Shit, I'm kind of a little sucky at this. And I know I have the Wii version, but for some odd reason, my friend is borrowing the Wii version. Well, actually he has the Wii version because I sort of did it as a little trade here and there, so I have the PS3 version of it instead, which is odd, but whatever. I mean, unfortunately, I don't have the Wii one on me because he's actually using it, so he let me use this PS3 version, plus he thinks the quality will be better because it's in HD and whatnot, even though, again, it's the same game. So I was like, you know what, this is a better quality, because the Wii version is pretty good too when it comes to recording this, but it's not as clear as the PS3 version, so I might as well just do that one. So yeah, in case you're wondering, wait a minute, you showed the Wii version in your intro, why isn't it the Wii version? That's basically your answer. I recorded that intro long ago before I started the review, so just to get the intro out, then started editing the actual review itself as a whole. Oh, this part I really liked here, like, holy crap. Oh, damn it, it's lagging on me. Sorry, the Camtasia thing and this shit's, like, lagging a bit. I do apologize if it lags a bit. Yeah, it's really killing my frame rate here, so, yeah. Look at those oranges. Like, spiky little oranges and, like, ugh. Don't worry, people, that's not blood. You'll find out as soon as I show you, like, in a bit. Like, one of my favorite levels in this game. Like, I'll show you. Holy crap. Oh, Jesus. I forget how much close up against. I'll show you what that red stuff really is. For you guys are wondering, no, it's not blood, nobody got murdered. This is a game that's rated E for everyone, by the way, so yeah, you'll find out exactly what it is, like, in about like a minute or so. See, as I mentioned, these are these little guys here you have to collect. It's not just here, but there's other areas you have to get when they say, help me, help me. When you hear the signal, help me, help me, they technically give you a signal to actually find them for extra points or whatnot. Pretty creative stuff. I actually like it. Oh, and there's a little thing as you're seeing right here at the end, like how many lums you fill up. You can get like... Now the most fun about this game that I clearly forgot to mention about this in this review is that yes, the game is not only a one-player game, but it's also 4 players as well as co-op. So that doesn't mean you can always just play alone. You can always play with 4 other friends. Now, this is actually a video recording of like me and a friend of mine actually playing the game as when I was like finishing the review or whatnot. We were actually testing it out to see how 4-player actually works. So it was like me, my friend, and my other group of people that I had, and we tried 4-player. And I gotta say, it's a hell of a lot of fun. Like, it's very, very fun. Like, it doesn't seem like too limited, like how Super Mario, New Super Mario Wii, while it was cool, but the way they did it didn't really work out that good. Like sometimes, like when it gets to the 4-player mode, you could barely see the screen like that great. Like, it'll zoom like really, really far like away, and then like as soon as you're about to reach like 1 person or 2 people, it just scrolls right back in, which is kind of weird. I don't know why they did this, but in Rayman Origins, they nailed the co-op in this game perfect. The co-op works really good. Yeah, the co-op works really good. And again, apologize for the stupid frame rate lag. Anyways, the co-op works very good. I barely had any problems when it comes to either screens actually scrolling up and down or stuff like that. The balance looks really good because New Super Mario Bros. Wii, again, cool idea, but it didn't really work out too well in the end. While in this, it works really good. And while you can kill your opponent, it's not really forever, so you can fool around and fuck around with the opponents whenever you can. It's actually really fun. And yes, I will show you what this red glob of, as you so-called, blood is actually going to be. Yep, all for a watermelon. All that disgusting hype for a watermelon. Yeah, pretty much worth the hype, huh? But it's fun though, I like that, because you get the... This is one of my favorites, because not only that was like a twisted surprise, I was like, ew, is that blood? But then when I found out what it really was, like, then, like, you know, you get to read on other stuff, like, there's, like, oranges and stuff like that, like, stuff you would use for cold stuff, for, like, produce and stuff. It was very fun. This has to be one of my most favorite and creative levels of Rayman Origins. Besides just the entire artistic style, you know, I have one particular favorite, and that's this one. Quit drooling on me. Okay, now you have to go chase it, and again, what she's doing right now is one of the abilities you're actually going to be getting, like, as soon as I rescue her. The next thing I'm going to talk about here is, again, the music. Just listen really quick. It sounds really James Bond-ish. Like, it sounds like it's like James Bond mixed with like Casino Night or something like that. Like, you know, like one of those like chase scenes in like James Bond or like a casino movie when they play like this hipping flute jazzy type of music. That's basically what I'm seeing here. And goddamn, do I love this soundtrack. The whole soundtrack in Rayman Origins is very original and very creative and artistic in its own way, and it actually captures a random way of betraying the level. Like, it's a random fitting way for the level, pretty much. It's weird, but you know, it's acceptable. And this is one of the powers I'll be getting, as you can see. Like I mentioned in the other earlier ago in the video where you get upgradable powers, you can shrink down the size to corners of levels so you can actually get into. So the music is really good, graphics, story is simple, gameplay, co-op is very fun. Again, my only little major problem is that I really wish they can have like a game over thing and make you start all the way from the beginning, which again would have been more traditional, but it don't matter because I still had one hell of a time with this game, and that's basically one little minor complaint that can go like really like out the window, to be honest with you. So again, wacky co-op 4-player fun. If you love the original Rayman series on the PlayStation 1, Sega Saturn, all that, the classic, the very first Rayman game, and pretty much, well, if you're a big fan of Rayman in general from back in the day, then by all means, I can't stop you from getting this incredible remake. However, if you want to pass on this, then, you know, you don't have to play it, you know. If you think this is not really, like, fun, you think it's boring, and you think it's not really one of the best platforms in the world, you want to stick with, like, something you know, like with Mario, or Kirby or whatever, then by all means, I'm not going to stop you. But do I recommend it? Hell yeah, I do. If you love the franchise, fuck it, you need this game. I don't even care. You know what? If you're a big Rayman fan, I highly recommend you get this game because it's one of the best platformers. And I'm going to say it right now. The best platform I played in 2011. It's not Super Mario 3D Land, even though it's sort of like third best, I would say, because second best has to be Sonic Generation, while third best has to be Super Mario Land 3D. Second place goes to Sonic Generations because, again, Sonic has finally come back good and strong, and if you want proof of that, check out my Sonic Generations review, which is actually my true first clear quality game reviews ever since my old school days when I used a crappy webcam. So, yeah, overall, here are my final thoughts on Rayman Origins.
So overall, I think Rayman Origins is one of the best platformers I have played of 2011, and it has to be one of the best Rayman games of all time, but mostly my favorite, and I'm really glad that Ubisoft finally took the contribute to finally make a Rayman game for so long, ever since, with the Raving Rabbits. I kind of lost hope in Rayman, but, thank God they finally worked on something like so secret. I was very surprised with this. And maybe there'll be a sequel to this game. I don't know if there actually will be a sequel, but maybe a Rayman 4. I mean, if Ubisoft can actually pull off a Rayman 4, then I think this can work. I really think this can work. So, yeah, so overall, I think Rayman Origins deserves one of the best platformers of last year. It actually, now the game is only $30 because the HD versions were over like $60, but now, well, except for the Wii, which was $10 lower, $50. Now all the versions of each game are around $30, so I really don't see why you guys should like pick this game up, because this game is actually like standards of finally what a unique creative platformer really is all about. So, it even gives Mario and all the other classics run for its money. So yeah, I give the game overall a 9.5. I totally give it a recommendation. So this is Straw Hat Ninja 89, aka Anime Game Freak 89, and gamers, players, nerds, nerdettes all around the world, keep on gaming. Peace out, guys.